Imagine flying 5,000 miles to watch a football match, and landing in the middle of the largest birthday party ever thrown. That's exactly what happened this week to millions of visiting fans across the United States. They came for the World Cup. They expected traffic, fast food, and a country they'd been told was falling apart. Instead, they got 250 years of history exploding over their heads, all at once. This is the story of the day the World Cup collided with America's 250th birthday. And why so many visitors say it changed how they see this country forever. For years, many international visitors had absorbed a very specific picture of the United States. Crumbling cities. Divided people. A superpower in decline. That was the story told in headlines, in documentaries, in social media feeds across Europe and beyond. So when FIFA awarded the 2026 World Cup to North America, plenty of traveling fans booked their tickets with low expectations. They were coming for the football, and bracing for the country. What they didn't fully realize was the date printed on the group stage calendar. July 4, 2026. Not just Independence Day. The semi-quincentennial. 250 years, to the day, since 13 colonies signed a document that changed the world. And all across the country, matchday visitors woke up inside a nation throwing the biggest celebration in its history. Start in Washington. On the National Mall, military flyovers thundered over crowds that stretched from the Capitol to the Lincoln Memorial. Fans in Morocco jerseys and France scarves stood shoulder to shoulder with families in red, white, and blue, many seeing an American flyover for the first time in their lives. In New York, the Macy's fireworks lit up a harbor already filled with a parade of ships. Visiting supporters who had come for a quarter of football found themselves on rooftops in Brooklyn, watching the sky burn for minutes at a time. In Los Angeles, the Memorial Coliseum hosted a benefit spectacular. In Boston, the Pops played to a crowd that stretched along the Charles. And then there were the smaller collisions, the ones that don't make headlines but fill camera rolls. European fans wandering into neighborhood block parties and being handed a plate before they could introduce themselves. Visitors discovering the gloriously absurd tradition of a hot dog eating contest broadcast live on national television. One viral clip after another tells the same story, fans arriving skeptical, and leaving with a very different picture. Here's what the visiting fans keep saying, in video after video. They expected hostility. They found strangers who struck up conversations in stadium lines. They expected decaying infrastructure. They found stadiums that left them, in their own words, speechless, venues on a scale most European leagues simply don't build. They expected a country too divided to celebrate anything together. And to be fair, America's divisions are real, and visitors saw those too. This is not a country without problems, and honest visitors don't pretend otherwise. But what struck so many of them was this: for one day, in 100 cities at once, they watched millions of people grill in backyards, watch fireworks with their neighbors, and sing along to music they disagree about everything else over. As one fan put it in a reaction clip, they came expecting decline and found a country that still knew how to throw a giant party. That gap, between the story and the street, is the real story of this World Cup so far. Not because America is perfect. But because first-hand experience is a stubborn thing. It doesn't care what the algorithm showed you last year. There's a reason the world's biggest sporting event and the world's biggest birthday landing on the same soil, in the same summer, matters. The last time America hosted the World Cup, in 1994, most of these fans hadn't been born. The country they grew up knowing was a country they'd only ever seen through a screen. Now, tens of millions of international visitors are seeing it in person, during the most self-reflective moment in its history. A nation looking back at 250 years of promises kept and promises broken, while the world literally watches from the stands. Some visitors will go home confirmed in their criticisms. Many will go home confused, in the best way, holding two ideas at once, a country with real problems, and a country nothing like the caricature. And that might be the semi-quincentennial's most unexpected gift. Not the fireworks. Not the flyovers. But millions of people replacing a story they were told, with a story they lived. The knockout rounds continue this week. More fans arrive. More visitors collect more evidence for the debate that never ends: what is America, really? If you've traveled somewhere that turned out nothing like you expected, tell us where, in the comments. We read every one. And if you want more stories about how big events reshape what the world believes, subscribe. Because the World Cup isn't over. And neither is the birthday party.